So just an FYI, please make sure to go to speaker view. That'll be the best way to view this meeting. That's in your upper right-hand corner. Like I said, please make sure to identify yourself using your full name, your Junior League of Dallas name, so we can make sure we give you credit. Again, a link to the survey will be provided at the conclusion of the meeting. You must fill out the survey in order to receive meeting credit. You will be muted during the duration of the meeting, and we ask that you please turn off your video. For any questions regarding meeting credit, please email education@jld.net. Additionally, if you are on the phone, please email education@jld.net so that they are able to give you meeting credit. And again, that's education@jld.net. We'll share it again at the end if you're on the phone, but please make sure to email them. We want to make sure you get that meeting credit. We know how important that is.
What?
You said where you're taking your call. All right, and please put yourself on mute. On mute if you are not already. Our first order of business tonight is to approve the minutes of the March 2020 general membership meeting held on March 2nd and 3rd. We will put forward a poll in lieu of a voice vote. The poll please, and here's the poll now to approve the minutes. The minutes were posted on your member homepage at jld.net. Please indicate whether you approve the minutes of the March general membership meeting on March 2nd and March 3rd. Please remember only actives in good standing are permitted to vote. We're going to give it just another second. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you very much for voting. All right, on with the meeting. Well, again, welcome. As I said, my name is Elizabeth Dacus, and I have the distinct pleasure of serving as your president of the Junior League of Dallas this year. I'm very excited to be here with you tonight for our very first ever virtual general membership meeting. We're an organization of women committed to developing the potential of women, promoting volunteerism, and improving our community through the effective action and leadership of trained volunteers. I'm truly honored to serve as president this year. During my 15 years as a League member, I've witnessed firsthand the League's commitment to cultivating leaders who collectively address the critical needs of our community. We should all be proud of our legacy of leadership development, civic education, and hands-on service. As we start the 2020-2021 year together, we are certainly facing unprecedented times, but my hope is that this will be a year where we will all grow as leaders. I hope the changes we encounter will challenge our thinking, encourage us to take risks that push us outside our comfort zones, and ultimately help us become stronger, more compassionate, and more effective leaders. We will be doing things differently than we have done in the past. Like tonight, many of our meetings will be virtual, and we will experience training in a new way. We will find new ways to volunteer and improve the community, and we will explore different ways to raise critical funds for our community. I know the women of the Junior League of Dallas are absolutely equal to that task. We will also continue to make our league a diverse and inclusive place for women to serve and to lead. For many years, the Junior League of Dallas has made advancing diversity and inclusion a priority within our organization. Equality is foundational to everything we do and is woven into our mission, strategies, and practices. We've already begun to expand our diversity and inclusion action plan over the last few months with the introduction of our diversity and inclusion summer series. As we move through the year, we will continue to address and deepen our understanding of many issues around diversity and inclusion and provide opportunities for you to engage with others at your individual comfort level. Our nearly 5,000 members are our strongest assets. Although we can't be together in person tonight, I hope that each of us will find new ways to connect and engage with our fellow members this year. The League year is filled with opportunities to develop your potential as a leader and volunteer. Embrace all that the League has to offer. At the end of the day, our mission asks us to take our training and improve the lives of others, and I know this group of women will do exactly that. The road we're facing is uncharted. The League has faced challenges in the past, and we have faced them head on. This year will be no different. I look forward to watching the League grow, change, and adapt this year and see the tremendous impact each of you will make. Thank you for your dedication and service to the League and our community partners. Together in our 99th year, we will build upon this rich legacy of the Junior League of Dallas in our community. And as we look toward our centennial, I can't wait to see how we will continue to build our legacy of leadership and devotion to Dallas. You'll be hearing more about our centennial plans tonight, and I hope you are as excited as I am. With all that said, I'd like to introduce our very esteemed guest tonight, Kimberly Tolbert. Kimberly Tolbert is the Chief of Staff to the Dallas City Manager. With a total workforce of over 13,000 employees, Kimberly serves as the top executive advisor to the City Manager and provides oversight of the City Manager's office and key city departments. After previously serving the City of Dallas in several roles, she rejoined the City of Dallas in 2017, following her nearly decade of service to the North Texas Tollway Authority. Kimberly is a transformational leader with expertise in strategic planning, communications, diversity and inclusion, change management, and leadership talent development. Kimberly holds a Master's of Public Administration from the University of North Texas. She serves on several boards, including Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Great Dallas, is recent co-author of Soulful Prayers, an Amazon bestseller, and was recently selected to be part of the 2019 Bloomberg Harvard City Leadership Initiative. And with that, welcome, Kimberly. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Good evening to everyone. Elizabeth, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and speak before your group tonight. I have a lot of respect for you and the work that I know is done daily by the Junior League of Dallas. And it is a privilege for me to actually serve as the Chief of Staff for our City Manager. You know, in the first time in the history of this city, our City Manager created such a position. And what I can tell you is that he's probably one of the smartest men that I know, because he made the decision to hire me. So it's a pleasure for me to serve. And oftentimes I do get those questions around, well, really, what does the Chief of Staff do? What is the role? What are the responsibilities? And that was kind of my same question that I asked the City Manager in 2017 when I was appointed. But I think the beauty in our roles, and I know many of you play different roles in many organizations, is that we really should never let the role define us, but we should always define that role. And so I'm blessed to have a unique working relationship, not only with our City Manager, but with the remainder of our executive team members who really understand that, and we all have opportunities to evolve in our positions. So basically what I do is really work to keep our staff on track. You know, sometimes things are not going to go right. And I feel that my phone probably rings more so than anybody else's, but that's the easy part, is being responsive and making sure that we're taking care of the residents of Dallas. I proudly serve in that role of advising the City Manager, working very closely with the City Manager to execute change and to carry out the priorities and align our performance of every one of our departments to those priorities of the City Council that have been set. And so on most days, I do my very best to keep our City Manager out of trouble. For those of you who get the pleasure of watching our Wednesday City Council meetings, you probably know that that can get a little difficult, but I know that none of you would be judging us at this point. So working through the various departments is really about providing oversight, ensuring that our departments are really demonstrating accountability. I do this directly working with the Departments of Human Resources, the Department of Aviation, also overseeing the Office of Business Diversity, Governmental Affairs, Communication, Outreach, Marketing, the Mayor's City Council Office. And then, of course, working alongside of my colleagues to ensure that all of our remaining other city departments are really engaged in performance. Effective October 1, because I didn't have enough to do, I will be assuming responsibilities for the Office of Homeless Solutions and our Office of Community Care. This evening, I really do want to take an opportunity to just kind of step back and give you, I know you wanted to talk about the state of the city. I really want to talk about what we've been through as a city in this last fiscal year. The things that I believe that we have learned and what we have to continue to do as we move forward. Those things that are really going to require our undivided attention. As many of you probably already know, Dallas is the 9th largest city in the country, with a total operating budget of $3.83 billion and over 13,000 city employees. Like any other city around the world, we are facing unprecedented change. This change is really testing our resilience as a city. It's really testing our systems that we have in place that support our residents. We've seen that this year we have had those intensifications of existing inequities, those inequities that exist within our criminal justice system and our different public safety practices. And all of these things have placed an enormous strain on our city resources as we are looking continuously to address those generations of systemic racism in our community. So let's talk about 2019 through where we are today. In the first quarter of 2019, Dallas was hit by a tornado that fortunately didn't cost anyone their life, but it did destroy at least one Dallas high school and left many of our Dallas residents without places to live. In the second quarter of the year, a state of disaster was declared. Emergency orders due to COVID-19 went into effect. I kept thinking about this last night, about where I was during the time that that state of emergency was actually being put into effect. And in March of this year, I was actually in DC with 9 council members at a conference when all the news reports were breaking about COVID-19 and the cases that were starting to happen in many parts of the country. At that time, Washington, D.C. only had 5 cases where we were. And we quickly prepared to get back to Dallas. Within 2 days of being back home in Dallas, with all the council members safe back here, the state of emergency was declared. Public facilities citywide were closed, and many of our city employees that had never really had to work in a work-at-home status were now being forced to do so. That was all at the same time that we had to continue to deliver essential services, ensuring that no one went without those necessities. And then we moved into the third quarter. The third quarter, we saw peaceful demonstrations as well as burglary and vandalism following the murder of George Floyd. We're now in the fourth quarter, and we're in the midst of a budgeting that is coming up for our fiscal year beginning October 1. And then just last week, our chief of police resigned. So a lot has taken place in our city. We have been through a lot. We have many challenges that we are facing. So what have we learned? And how do we believe that we move forward? Dallas is a resilient city. And I'm sure that you've heard other leaders in our community say that very thing. And we're a resilient city because we have to be proactive and not reactive. We realize that we have to create those partnerships, whether it's partnering with our nonprofit community, our philanthropic community, and our business community. That is the only way that as a city that we can leverage our existing resources. What we're also learning is that we have to do more and more to major in what I call the art of collaboration. Through those collaborations, we're able to solve problems. And we're able to solve problems by involving people from all walks of life and across all sectors of our community. We've also had to strengthen and find new ways of engaging our residents, making sure that we're listening more and being responsive to their needs. We started a process 2 years ago of budgeting through an equity lens, which really does force us to look at our practices, our policies, our programs, to make absolutely sure that everybody has what they need in order to be successful. So all of these things are really testing our resilience, but they also provide opportunities for us to refine and do our very best to ensure that Dallas is an inclusive, thriving community. Now, we realize that none of this can begin if we don't embrace change. And that change starts with us looking very closely at our core values. One of our core values is empathy. It is the cornerstone for every single thing that we do as we look to uphold our values of excellence, ethics, and equity. Now, I'm sure that it's no surprise to many of you that people don't really care what you know until they know really that you care. And that is what we are focused on. It is the actions, it is the demonstration of success that really gets to the heart of the community and what their needs are, that people really do see that we are concerned and we care about them, because we know that many, many people are hurting, not only in Dallas, but throughout the world. And so, are there people discouraged? Absolutely. Are there people that think that we could do more? Absolutely. But we believe that this is an opportunity for us to do better. When you know better, you do better. And I believe that our city council also understands that the opportunity is now for us to seize the opportunity, that we can be more innovative. We can look at programs that really do get to the heart and to the root of those systemic issues that we're dealing with as a community. And it's only in that way can we build upon our success. And so in the last few months, we've been talking about real change. And that is real change that will allow us to be responsible, make decisions that are equitable, accountable, and legitimate. Because we believe that if we don't take the opportunity to do these things now, then we're failing not only people now, but many generations to come. Our proposed fiscal year budget 2021 helps us get to the heart of this matter. Our budget will help us reprioritize many of our services, while many of you I know have heard about the reimagining public safety. And what does this look like? Well, for a city right now, it means that we've got to ensure that basic needs, jobs, employment, housing, access to food and healthcare, those are the essential things that we've got to make sure are happening in this community. We also have to make sure that we are preparing a workforce that is ready and able to do the work for the different types of industries that we support here in Dallas, and those industries that we hope to recruit to the city of Dallas. Neighborhood amenities are critical. When we look at youth programming that will allow for our youth to have places to go and learn, to begin to build and think about career opportunities for themselves. We also believe that it's important for us to engage and help facilitate and foster those individuals that are returning back to Dallas after being impacted by the justice system. We also have to continue to invest in those core services, streets, sidewalks. We have many areas of our city where water is not accessible. So we are making an investment to begin to find ways through our budget to serve those unserved neighborhoods. Technology access is critical. Whether we're looking at the digital divide, working in partnership with our school district, and many, many others, that is an issue that we're facing here within the city of Dallas. So supporting Dallas residents at every age, at every stage of their lives, in every single neighborhood, across every single zip code, we believe is what it's going to take in order for us to really, truly live out and be the words that we use, which are One Dallas. I want to leave you and talk a little bit about those lessons that have been important for me that I have learned, that I think helps us really move forward, and they give me hope after being in this profession and serving for over 27 years. First and foremost, I think it's important for us to continue to tell the story. It's important that we not only tell the story, but we tell our own story, because no one knows your story better than you. When we tell our stories, we're actually able to help many other women who are either dealing with some of the very same similar circumstances, or they're trying desperately to rise above their fears and their frustrations about life. And it's through our stories that we can give them hope and help them face those challenges. For over 4 years, I have spent many hours and time volunteering and working to empower women living in government assisted housing. And what I have learned being a part of that environment is that our stories are not that different. The only thing that was really different from me not being in that same environment and having that same situation is that I never saw the sky as a limit to my potential. I was raised by a single mom who worked 3 jobs to support my sisters and I. We were really poor, but I didn't know we were poor. And I didn't let anybody define me as being poor. I believe that through your organization and many others in this city, we have some unique opportunities to pour into women by reminding them, first of all, just how special they are, by reminding them how valuable that they are, and that they can do anything that they choose to do so. And doing that doesn't cost us anything. On the properties that I volunteer, we teach women about self-care, whether it's how to put on makeup, how to take care of their hair. We talk with them about their minds and the types of things that they have to enforce and think about themselves. It's building that self-worth. And I think that most of you would agree with me that the mindset is so critically important to help get to the outcomes that we seek. I know that this is no surprise to you guys because you do a great job of really, really working and committing to promoting your team and your efforts out there in this community to develop the potential of women and improving community through the effective actions and leadership of all of the trained volunteers. So just like me and many others that I serve with, you too want a better Dallas. The work that you're doing, such as promoting quality health care, quality health services, the awareness campaigns, the prevention campaigns that you guys are involved in, I believe that it is those things, those collective things, when we talk about the state of our city and how we make sure that our city is strong. It's your time and your hard work that will strengthen the security and the stability of all of our residents and promote excellence in education and inspire the very creativity that is needed to take us all to the next level. The second thing that I want to remind you as one of the valuable lessons that I've learned is to remember your why. When you wake up every morning, keep in mind that there is someone dependent on you. Doesn't matter who it is, but there is someone depending on you. No matter how your day starts and no matter how it ends, you're not here just to take up space. And so the purpose that you bring to life and the purpose that you bring to the very organization that you serve, we need you to continue to remember your why. Because your why will drive you through the chaos, through the crisis, through the failures, and through the challenges. At a very young age, my grandfather actually challenged me. I grew up in East Texas in a small community called Tyler, Texas. Some of you may have heard of that community. And for me, the northern part of the city that I grew up in is very similar to the southern part of the city today. So it was just the opposite. The southern part of the city in Tyler is the more affluent part of the city. So one of the things that I used to really enjoy doing was getting in the car and driving around to the various parts of the city with my grandfather. And because I asked a lot of questions and I talked a lot, I would, of course, ask him a lot of questions. And some of those questions went something like this. So why are there sidewalks in this part of the city? And there are no sidewalks in the side of the city that we live on. And why are there beautiful playgrounds here and there are no playgrounds in my neighborhood? And after all those questions, and I did it often, because I really wanted to kind of see what his thinking was and what he would say to me. And the one thing that I remember, and this is my lesson that I had to learn, my grandfather stopped me one day and said, instead of you continuing to ask questions, why don't you be a part of the solution to solve those very problems that you see? And for me, that was a profound piece of advice that I've never, ever, ever let go of. So when things are not going well at City Hall, when the problems are stacking up, when we can't seem to respond to council members quickly enough, when we can't seem to get things done as quickly as our residents want us to do, I still go back to my why. And that gives me the hope and the continuation of the efforts that I know that it is going to take to move this city forward. And lastly, reinvent yourself. As a city, we are committed to building a service-first culture 365 days a year that would allow us to self-check our own actions when we fall short, because we will fall short. But we also need to make sure that, ladies, the ones that are on this virtual call, to constantly be about the action, constantly be about taking what you do best and finding ways to even do it better. And that means, responding to those calls to be those leaders in our community. Whether it's running for elected office, whether it's leading organizations, your help is needed if we're going to continue to solve those problems that actually our city is facing at this time. This is a difficult time in our nation. And we realize that it's not just the words that we use, it is the actions that we have to take in order to demonstrate our commitment to change. So regardless of what challenges, regardless of what comes every single day, remaining positive and being able to ensure that we are providing services that our residents need to keep them safe and to make sure that they can become individual contributors and have the success that they achieve, it is going to take all of us. And of course, your help to make it possible. We appreciate the community input and the focus that you have as an organization. And with the over 130,000 hours that we know that you have contributed to this community, we appreciate you and we thank you for everything that you do. I would like to leave you with a call to action. Continue to acknowledge the inequities that exist all around us. Continue to build on the partnerships that you've put in place and continue to find those innovative ways as a premier organization in this city that you can help us champion and help us truly, truly become a One Dallas. I thank you very much for your courage. I thank you for your willingness to help and your willingness to understand what we do at the city. And if nothing else, to make sure that you know what our community is facing and where you can make a difference. Opposition is the burden that none of us want. But I do believe that as we work through our oppositions and our obstacles, we will continue to be able to rise above and face those challenges, those setbacks, and all the things that we have gone through as a city in this last year. Our fiscal year has taught us that we have to stay on the right road, We have to continue to surround ourselves with those organizations and those people that really want to make the difference in this community and help us do it and do it well. And so I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes by Nelson Mandela. And the quote says that the greatest glory in living is not in never failing, but it is rising every time we fall. Failure, I believe, is good for the soul. And so thank you all so very much for the work that you do and the work that you will continue to do in our great city. And with that, I want to say thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been my pleasure to serve you this evening.
Kimberly, thank you so, so much. Everyone's on mute, but I know there would be rousing applause when I know this group well, and I know there would be otherwise. We had over 400 of our members here to hear you tonight. So thank you so much. I think you may be one of us based on everything you said, and I think we need to make you an honorary member. You clearly understand our mission and love Dallas as much as all of the women of the Jubilee of Dallas do. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's been my pleasure.
Wonderful. And I know you've got a busy schedule, so if you need to hop off, we don't mind one bit, and we'll continue on with our program.
Thank you.
All right, ladies. I just want to do a quick reminder before we move on. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure to change your name to your name. If it says Elizabeth's iPhone or just has your initials or something, that won't work. So just an FYI. Up next, I want to introduce my very dear friend, Miss Andrea Cheek, who is our Centennial Steering Committee co-chair, along with the wonderful Margot Goodwin, also our Centennial Steering Committee co-chair. They're going to talk to you about our Centennial project tonight. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Cheek, and I'm thrilled to share several exciting things the Centennial Committee has been working on recently and over the past couple of years. I'm here with my co-chair, Margot Goodwin, and we have a big announcement for you. The Junior League of Dallas began in 1922 with a group of 40 women determined to make a difference in our community. Together, they tackled issues on the front lines and improved the lives of women and children across the city. During 2021-2022, we will celebrate 100 years of growing women leaders who address Dallas's most critical needs.
The Centennial Committee, hello. The Centennial Committee started working in 2016 to not only celebrate our tremendous milestone, but to also give back a little bit more to the city of Dallas. In 2018, we established the Centennial Endowment Foundation to support the League's Volunteer Training and Support Services Fund. Former President Lyda Hill generously gave a gift of $5 million with an additional $5 million in a matching grant, and our committee continues to work with donors to match her generosity. This endowment ensures that our league will continue to develop Dallas's future leaders for many generations to come. In 2017, to honor our history, we created the Legacy Leaders Program to recognize women who have been league members for 50 years or more. And each year, we celebrate these women at the Milestone Luncheon with a lovely Legacy Leader pin. Pardon me. Also, in honoring our history, the Centennial Committee is working to properly preserve and organize our archives. We look forward to sharing more of our League's wonderful history with all of you in the coming years.
As part of our celebration, we want to give back to the city we love so much, benefiting generations for the next 100 years. For the past 4 years, our committee has researched a variety of worthy causes to be our Centennial project, looking for something that would inspire all Dallasites. 2 years ago, we narrowed it to one project, and I've been working since then to put everything in place to finally announce it now. For our Centennial project, we are pleased to donate critical funds and support to the restoration of the Juanita J. Craft Civil Rights House and Museum. We will join organizations and community leaders across Dallas in making it a place for all Dallasites to learn about its place in our city's history and the efforts to win civil rights for African Americans. To tell you more about Mrs. Craft and her home, I would like to introduce you to Sarah Jackson, our Centennial Project Chair.
Thank you, Andrea. Many of you may know about Juanita Craft, and that is part of the reason we wanted to be part of this very important effort. Juanita Craft devoted her life to equal rights, believing that all people should be able to fully participate in American society. From 1950 until her death in 1985, her home in South Dallas, near the Fair Park neighborhood, served as command central for many of the pivotal moments in the civil rights movement in Dallas and beyond. During this time, she established a vast network across Texas to promote equal rights for all Americans, organizing 182 branches of the NAACP and championing integration of the Texas State Fair in 1961. Working through the NAACP's Texas State Conference of Branches, Mrs. Craft fought for the rights of African Americans to serve on a jury, vote in the Democratic primaries, and receive an education from professional and collegiate schools. She served on the board of the Urban League of Greater Dallas. She was the first African American woman in Dallas County to vote and the first African American woman to serve on the Dallas City Council. Over the years, the Craft home became a central hub for the community, a place to get engaged in community discussions. It was also a place for school children to safely do their homework. Craft taught them about civil rights issues, believing they would shape the future of civil rights struggle. It was a meeting space for the NAACP Youth Council, voter registration drives, women's voting league meetings, and campaign headquarters for many races, including her own 2 city council races in 1975 and 1977. Mrs. Craft often used her home to host out-of-town visitors too. During the Jim Crow era, musical artists, including Marian Anderson, Louis Armstrong, and Duke Ellington, stayed with her because hotels were impossible to find for African Americans because many hotels prohibited Black guests. Upon her death in 1985, Juanita Craft willed her home to the city of Dallas to be used to advance her mission to improve civil and human rights through education, advocacy, government, and civil discourse. As Andrea mentioned, we've worked over the past 2 years to support the restoration the Juanita Craft Civil Rights Home and Museum. In this effort, we're thrilled to have Jennifer Scripps, Director of the Office of Cultural Affairs and a JLD Sustainer, as our partner, helping us fulfill the vision of this very important project. Jennifer, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and it is wonderful to be with everyone here tonight. If you were like I was prior to interviewing for my job at the city in 2016, I had never heard of the Craft House or Mrs. Juanita Craft. I still find it shocking that I was not aware of this major leader in our fight for civil rights in Texas and all across the state, in Dallas and across the state, and her home as it was really a command central. Women across the country, like Ms. Craft, were often the unsung heroes for the civil rights movement. And the more I learn, the more I recognize what a hero, in some ways much too unsung, Mrs. Craft has been, and what a tremendous impact she made in Dallas and our state for more than 30 years. In addition to the honors that Sarah just mentioned, Mrs. Craft helped integrate several Texas universities, and she opened her home to welcome a whole generation of young people in South Dallas who became known and still call themselves the Craft Kids. Many of these individuals grew up and into leadership roles in Dallas. Ms. Craft was honored with the Linz Award, Dallas's most prestigious award for civic leadership, in 1969. She was particularly lauded at that time for her campaign to dismantle fraudulent trade schools that preyed on Black men and women. And beyond the achievements of Mrs. Craft herself, this house is a significant landmark for several reasons. It sits in a South Dallas neighborhood on Warren Avenue. At the time, this street was the dividing line during integration of the South Dallas neighborhood, and it withstood bombings due to the coming integration. It also played host to many dignitaries, including Jimmy Carter and First Lady Rosalind Carter, who visited, in addition to the celebrities that Sarah just mentioned. In 2000, it was formally acknowledged as a Dallas historic landmark and has been for the last 20 years. As Sarah mentioned, since Mrs. Craft's death, this house has been owned and operated by the city. Unfortunately, since that time, the 1930s Craftsman Bungalow has had a few setbacks and a rocky history. We've had several rounds of repairs, but limited real investment. And there was a catastrophic flood on Memorial Day of 2018, resulting in damage throughout this small house. It didn't take much flooding to do tremendous damage. A small group of community leaders have worked to complete the first ever historic structures report, which is an important assessment on any historical property or landmark. It shows its historic significance and suggests operational plans for how best to ensure a sustainable and ongoing activation of the space that can be enjoyed for years to come. This effort culminated in a tremendous $500,000 grant from the National Park Service to help us improve our management and interpretation of the house. With this gift and the partnership of individuals and organizations, the City of Dallas is taking steps to properly restore the home. And we are thrilled and so thankful that the Junior League of Dallas is joining this important effort to bring this Dallas landmark back to life. Sarah Jackson, the Centennial Project Chair, and Renita Smith, Executive Sponsor for Diversity and Inclusion, are serving on the Friends of the Juanita Craft Board of Directors, alongside many other community representatives. In her will, Juanita Craft asked that the house be preserved to represent and carry on her belief in the ability of individuals to make a difference, and to appreciate the importance of service to community and nation. What happened inside this home helped change the course of history and influence many lives. It is our hope that the restored home will be a place for people of all colors to appreciate the power of the individual, to transform lives, and to fully recognize the values of service, both locally and nationally, through hard work and compassion. And I think I turn it back over to Elizabeth.
Thank you, Jennifer. I hope everyone is as excited to hear about this project as we are to share it with you. It has been quite literally, as Andrea, I think, mentioned, several years in the making. And so we're very excited to share with you the project. And I will now turn it over to our next speaker, Krista Sanford, our president-elect, to talk about a proposed bylaws amendment. Krista.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hello, all. We are so excited to bring to you this proposed bylaws amendment that was approved by the board a few weeks ago. Hopefully, you've already seen the emails and the communications, but currently, we have a proposed bylaws amendment on the floor to add a diversity and inclusion vice president to the board of directors. You can see on your member homepage that this person will oversee the diversity, equity, and inclusion activities of the league, in addition to a host of other various responsibilities. So please visit the job description on the member homepage, and please remember to vote. Voting closes on Wednesday at 2 p.m. after the recording viewing of the next general membership meeting. So please take time to review that description, vote, and again, just to remind you, this voting is only open to actives in good standing. So we look forward to receiving your feedback and your vote. Thank you so much. I'll now turn it over to Tracy Steiner, who is our nominating chair this year. Tracy?
Thanks, Krista. Hi, everyone. I am this year's nominating chair, and I'm really excited to give you a few updates this evening. I'm going to go through some criteria, some dates to remember, and also some resources for you. So first of all, put the heavy hitters up front, but president-elect, if you're interested in that role, requires previous board of directors experience. If you're interested in nominating for the board, that requires previous leadership council experience. And for the vast majority of you, probably haven't served on the board of directors, there are 3 areas that may be of interest to you. First of all, leadership council. These positions only require that you have completed 1 active year of service in the Junior League. But I really want to focus on project chair and small group advisors. These are great kind of first-time leadership experiences in the Junior League. There are no specific requirements for project chair. And small group advisors, we do prefer that you have 3 or more years of active service plus some in-league experience. So those are both great first-time leadership roles in the Junior League of Dallas. Nominating dates. So if you were interested in nominating yourself or someone else for the board of directors, nominations open up on jld.net on September 28th, and those close on November 1st at 10 p.m. The board of directors will be selected by the nominating committee in the first half of November. Right after the board, the new board is slated, then we open up nominations for leadership council, project chair, and small group advisors. So those start November 16th and close right at the beginning of the new year on January 3rd at 10 p.m. One thing I want to point out, just supporting what Krista just gave us an update on, is we talk a lot about the strategic plan, but we're just nominating following this. So a couple of stress that the nominating committee is focused on this year is, 1, ensure that all women are able to envision themselves as formal and or informal leaders of the league. And specifically, if you look up, do you see someone who is maybe like you or similar to you, and you can envision yourself in leadership? And related, increasing numbers of diverse members applying for leadership positions. So I'm really pleased about what Krista just talked about the VP of Diversity and Inclusion, and encourage you to vote for that online. Again, as a reminder, active members in good standing can vote through 2 p.m. on Wednesday, September 16th. Okay, finally, we really need your help. I'm sure that all of you have heard about raising your hand if you are interested in doing a leadership role in the league, and that's really true. So are you interested in applying for a leadership role next year, regardless of what it is? Do you have questions and want to talk to someone? Or do you know someone who might be a great leader in the league that hasn't expressed interest? Maybe they need a pat on the shoulder or a nudge by text in today's virtual environment. Or do you know someone that wants to be in a leadership role, or including yourself, but doesn't know the process? And if you're in a leadership role already, do you have an idea of who could take your role next year? So I'll leave you with this. The nominating committee, so myself and my team, is a resource for anyone interested in learning more about the process. We'd love to chat with you. My email is here. Feel free to reach out to me or anyone on the team, and we'd love to walk you through this and talk about roles that might be of interest to you. All right, thank you so much. I'll turn it over to Lee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lee Danley, and I'm the Development Vice President this year for the Junior League of Dallas. It is wonderful to be here with you all for our first GMM of the year. Development has been hard at work on quite a few things this year, so I'd like to share a couple of them with you tonight. First of all, we would like to announce the date for the Milestones Luncheon. It will be held this year on March 26, 2021. Luncheon chairs Aaron Pope and Candace Winslow have been hard at work planning what is promising to be a fantastic 10th anniversary of the Milestones Luncheon. I would also like to introduce our Sustainer of the Year, Diane Scoville. Diane has been a fantastic supporter of the Junior League of Dallas and is also a wonderful supporter of many organizations in the Dallas community. When you attend the Milestones Luncheon, you are supporting our largest fundraiser of the year. And your luncheon attendance will satisfy a meeting credit, which is really wonderful for everyone. New this year, we would like to also announce the Milestones Member Campaign. This is an opportunity to really recognize a mentor, a colleague, or a friend who is a Junior League of Dallas active or sustainer. That woman that really made a difference in your Junior League career. I see many of my mentors on this call tonight. Thank you all so much for your support over the years. For more information about the Milestones Luncheon, You can make a donation, purchase tickets, or purchase a table. Visit jld.net/milestones-luncheon/. And lastly, I would love to tell you about North Texas Giving Day. It is right around the corner. It will be happening this Thursday. You can go ahead and schedule your gift now on the website. You can also review your email for direct links on how to give on the Junior League of Dallas page. You can also check out all of our social pages for information about how to create your own fundraising page with your group and just contribute in general. North Texas Giving Day is a wonderful opportunity for the Junior League of Dallas to not only raise funds, but awareness for the great works that we are doing in the Dallas community. Even $25 can help us get closer to our goal this year. So thank you all to everyone who has already scheduled their giving, and I look forward to seeing you all on the 17th. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Tracy. And thank you, Krista, for sharing some of the business of the league with us tonight. We appreciate you very much. All right, last up, again, just a quick reminder, please change your name, your screen name to be your name. It's very important that you do that so we can give you meeting credit. You will also need to fill out the meeting survey link, which is shown here on the screen in order to get your meeting credit. If you are on the phone, please email education@jld.net tonight to let them know that you were here, and we'll make sure that you get the link to the survey. Make sure you get that credit. Please make sure that you do that, and we'll make sure that you all have the meeting credit that you need. With that, I really hope that all of you enjoyed the meeting tonight, and I hope, like Kimberly Tolbert said, that you will remember that the sky really is the limit, that you'll remember your why, and that you will reinvent yourself with your actions. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you have a wonderful week, and this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.